Morning! Beautiful sunny morning in lockdown. Thank goodness for the sunshine. Honestly, when I wake up and it's a sunny day, my mood is so much better and I feel as though I can get through the day. Don't know about you, had a couple of low days, but picking myself up again. And this morning I'm going to make some shortbread that we can make into German biscuits or into some nice Easter biscuits that we can have. And also because our biscuit tin is always getting low and you can't be running out to the shops to get some more biscuits all the time. So these can be a nice treat for the family in your biscuit tin. So very simple ingredients that you need. You need some plain flour, some caster sugar and some softened butter. And that's all you need for a very simple shortbread recipe. There are recipes that have semolina and corn flour and all sorts of things in them, but this is just a very simple one. It works perfectly well as a biscuit or as a German biscuit. We sandwich together and I'll show you how to do that as we go along. So for those of us who work in ounces, it is 12 ounces of plain flour, 8 ounces of butter and 4 ounces of caster sugar. For those of us who work in grams, let's try. We will have 300 grams of plain flour, we will have 200 grams of butter, and we will have 100 grams of caster sugar. But I'll put the recipe on the Facebook page along with the video. So the first thing you need to do is I have softened the butter a little bit. Took it out of the fridge, forgot to leave it out overnight, and so I've just popped it into the microwave for 30 seconds so it's nice and soft, because that'll bring all the ingredients together. And it's really not difficult. If you have a mixer like I have, you can do it in the mixer. Otherwise you can do it by hand, but it'll just take a little bit longer for all the ingredients to come together. So I'm just going to put the flour into the mixer. It was actually quite hard to get plain flour, can you believe that? The shelves are lacking in flour of all sorts, self-raising and bread making flour. I presume everybody was hoping they would do some baking while they were locked in. So I was able eventually to get a packet of plain flour. And then we're going to put in our butter. There we go. And then I'm going to put in the caster sugar. So it all goes in together. And then you just turn on your mixer and let it all just come together slowly first, so the flour doesn't fly all over your kitchen. And you just want all the ingredients to come together into a dough that you can then use to make your biscuits with. So just keep the beater going. And it starts to form breadcrumbs. So if you're doing it by hand, it starts to form breadcrumbs, and then you just need to really keep working the ingredients together until they come together as a nice firm dough. So you just beat that up a little. So I'm just going to show you what the crumbs look like. Mixer, can't find whether. No, there we go. See it start to come together. And that's all you need to do. So let's put it back up here. So that's all you need to do, is just to bring it together into a nice dough. So let's get the dough out of here. Show you what to do next. Now, really not too difficult. Let's have a look, see if we can see the dough a bit better. So you get a nice piece of dough, and you don't want to work it too much, because otherwise the biscuit becomes a little bit kind of overworked, a bit stiff. So I'm just going to bring it together just so that it's nice. All the bits are brought together, and as you can see, it's a lovely smooth dough. And just going to make sure the work surface is floured so it doesn't stick. So nice Smooth dough, doesn't take a lot of working at all, and that'll keep your biscuits nice and short, but not overworked and tough. So then we're just going to roll the pastry or the dough out. This would be fab with the kids if you want to make some Easter biscuits with the kids. So they could all have a little bit of dough, and then they could roll out and cut out some biscuits. I can't believe it's nearly Easter. I put out some little Easter decorations about the house. I found them in the cupboard yesterday, and I put them out about the house just to remind us that Sunday is Easter, even though it really doesn't feel like it. Just doesn't even feel like you want to be having Easter at all, but sure, we'll try our best to keep going. So I'm rolling it out until it's about, let me see, about 1 centimetre thickness. So you can see there. So it's about 1 centimetre thick all round. And then I've got various cutters which I thought we'd try. And I'm going to make various different things with it. So I have a lovely, this is lovely oval fluted cutter. I got this in France on holidays a few years back. They have these lovely, you know, the patisseries in France, and they have these lovely, well, we call them German biscuits. Thin shortbread, little bit of raspberry jam, and two little circles in the top with the jam poking through, and then dusted with icing sugar. And this was the shape of it. So when I went into one of the kitchen shops, lo and behold, I found one of these and I brought it home. So I love making German biscuits with these, this cutter. So I'm going to make a couple of those, just so we can have. So you get a lovely shape. So I'm going to do a couple that you can have the jam poking through. So you need 2 that are not cut, nothing cut out of the middle. And then we need 2 where you cut out a little circle, a couple of little circles like that, so that the jam will poke through. I'll do it again. So I'm just using a piping nozzle to cut out the shapes of mine, but you can use whatever you have at home. Be creative. Bottle tops are quite good. You can cut out with a bottle top. A glass is very good. If you don't have any cutters, you can use a glass. I'm sure I could show you how to do that. So just make sure you have a bit of flour around it, and then you can cut out with a glass, and then you see you get your circles just the same as you would with a cutter. So be creative if you think you haven't got stuff at home. I bet you do. So then I have another lovely cutter, which is like like a little flower. So I'm going to cut out a couple of flowers. And we do 4 of those, so we can have a top and bottom. And then I'm just going to bring the dough all back again. So you bring the dough all back again and work it again, just very lightly, just bring it all back into another nice dough again. So I'm kneading it all back in together again, get all the wee bits back together. Little flour it lightly again, and the same on the top, and we're going to roll it out and just keep turning your dough. That helps it to stop sticking to your work surface. Just keep rolling it. It also means that you're getting it sort of fairly even right across the dough, so you don't have sort of a thick end and a thin end. You just keep rolling in the one direction, so just keep turning it round. There we are. And then I found a little bunny rabbit cutter. Can you see that? Little bunny rabbit cutter. So let's have some bunny rabbits. I have to have some bunny rabbits for Easter. You might have lots of cutters. If you've got kids, they usually have like a Play-Doh set or something, you know, and there's lots of cutters in them. So I quite often had different shaped cutters when the kids were younger. So we've got a few bunny rabbits. Okie dokie. And I'm going to get these into the oven and come back and cut some more now in a wee minute. So for the oven, it's on at 160 degrees centigrade. That's gas mark 4. And just lightly flour a baking tray. There we are. And put your shortbread pieces onto your baking tray. Okay, so that's the flowers, and then my lovely ovals, which I just love. They're my favourites. And then the bunny rabbits. Now the bunny rabbit's ears can be quite delicate, so just be careful. Wash my hands. And then if you just take a fork and lightly press the fork into the top of the shortbread there, that just helps it for not to rise up and get bubbly bits. With the oval ones, I'm not going to do the top one, but I'll do the bottoms, and again with the rabbits. And I'm going to put those into the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. Just check them after 15. You don't want them to get too well cooked, so check them after 15. So they need to be sort of golden. And in the meantime then we can cut out the rest of them. So there's, I put my bunny rabbits on. Lovely. I'm just pricking them again with the fork. And let me see, I think I'll do a few more ovals because I like those ones. So just keep working them back. It does get a little drier. You'll find it gets a little drier as you keep working at it. So just try not to add too much more flour to it, and just keep. Oh. I was just sticking to my. There we go. Let's get another oval. And we'll do another one. We'll do the top of it, and it needs to have the center taken out of it. So I'm just going to use my nozzle just to cut out the two circles. So that's that one. And I might get another one of those. Can I get another one? One more go. You can work away until there's all the scraps are used up. And then the hours of fun I had with this, with the kids. Or if you're on your own, it's good fun too. And very tasty. So, actually it would be a nice gift to give to a neighbour if you have a neighbour next neighbour who maybe needs a wee bit of cheering up or has been locked down for maybe 3 weeks by now. It might be nice just to make a few of these and pop them in next door to them. So, I think that's all I'm going to get out of that. So I'm going to, I think I've got an uneven number. Oh dear, what a shame, an uneven number. You know what that means? No, I don't. I was thinking there that the chef could have a little shortbread biscuit with her coffee this morning. Oh well, not to worry. Fit them all in. They don't spread out, they don't spread very much in the cooking, so this should be fine, all tucked in. Again, just finish off with the fork. And this second tray can go in the oven now for 15 minutes. I'll come back to you in 15 minutes to see what they're looking like, and we'll see how we can get on and decorate them. Well, you join me back. I've had a cup of coffee and my breakfast while these pieces of shortbread have been cooking. And as you can see, they're a lovely golden colour, not too dark and not too pale. They're just lovely. Look at that. And the smell in the kitchen is just gorgeous. So we have a couple of options we can do with the shortbread once they're out of the oven, and what we want to, what way do we want to decorate them and things. So I love just a plain shortbread biscuit with a cup of coffee. So I thought what I'd do with the bunny rabbits was to put them straight in when they come out of the oven, as cool as you can touch them. Pop them into the caster sugar. So just literally a bowl of caster sugar. I'm putting the hot biscuit into the caster sugar, and then just shake off the excess and put it onto a cooling rack. That gives it a lovely coating of sugar, and that's just lovely whenever you're having your coffee. So then we've also got the options then to make our German biscuits. So I took these out a little while so they're nice and cool and ready to work with. So we have our ovals with the holes in. So we've got 4 tops and hopefully 4, we've got 5 bottoms and 5 tops, perfect. So what I do is I lay out the shortbread bottoms upside down. So you've got the top is down towards the work surface and the base is up. And then I've got the, move them so you can actually see them. So I'm going to do some with raspberry jam and some with lemon curd. And I was just thinking while I was waiting for them to cook that you could put some lemon zest or orange zest. Orange zest in shortbread's gorgeous, but lemon zest or orange zest into it as well, into the mix. And that would give just the shortbread a nice extra little flavour. So I have in the cupboard, and it's just what I have in the cupboard at this moment in time, raspberry jam, and I also had lemon curd. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of lemon curd ones and a couple of raspberry jams. So pop the raspberry jam into the centre of your biscuit. And then we'll do a couple of lemon curds after that. So that's the raspberry jam. And then just spread it to the edges. And sometimes I'm not as careful as that, but it just means that you get each mouthful gets a little bit of raspberry jam. So that's rather tasty. Okay. There we go. Lovely. And then I just have a little bit of lemon curd. And this is quite a runny lemon curd. You see that? It's the more expensive lemon curd. Tastes absolutely gorgeous, made with butter and everything, you know, more really like homemade. So don't put quite so much of that in because it will ooze everywhere. So I'm just putting a little bit of that into each biscuit. And again, we'll spread that out over the biscuit. And then just place the one with the holes on the top of each of your biscuits and press it down gently. So these have all cooled. I have some of them on the cooling rack, so they're all cool. And so as you can see, can you see that? It's just, you can see the raspberry jam just popping through the little holes at the top. So I think the best way to finish these off is just to give them a dusting of icing sugar. So I have a little bit of icing sugar, and I'm just going to tap some icing sugar over the top of it. Oh, I'm very excited about these. These just look like the ones in France. Now, I have to say my shortbread maybe isn't as thin as the French patisserie ones, but certainly they're the idea of it anyway. And they look gorgeous. Oh, very pleased with those, even if I say so myself. So there we have them. A nice raspberry one and a nice lemon one. So I have a nice plate that I'm going to pop these on with my bunny rabbit. I'm going to pop those on. And then we've got a couple of our little flowers we can do as well. So again, you just turn them upside down, put a little bit of raspberry in the middle, raspberry jam in the middle. Spread the raspberry jam out over the biscuit. Now you could make a little glacé icing with icing sugar and water if you wanted to put on the top instead of just dusting them with icing sugar, but I think they're lovely just dusted with the icing sugar. So I'm putting the lid on the top, and again I've just put my sieve into the water, so that's not going to be much use to me, so I'm just dusting with a bit of icing sugar. And there's our little flowers, so I'll put that in our dish too. And then we've got our bunny rabbits, which have all just been very simply coated with castor sugar. Now if you feel like playing with icing and stuff, you can, but there's the lovely little bunny rabbits. And I think anybody would be more than delighted to get a packet of those left on their doorstep, or the family would enjoy those with a cup of coffee over Easter. They look just delicious. There we are. So I hope you enjoy making some all butter shortbread for Easter. Maybe make some German biscuits or just some plain shortbread with castor sugar on. Hard to beat. Hope you enjoy them, and I'll be back to you again soon with another recipe.